The following video contains disturbing imagery and graphic depictions of cartoon violence. Viewer discretion is strongly advised.
Hey Mario, you retard! Stop acting so pissed at me! I'll kill you! Oh, sweet cheeks, I gotta get me some of that! Ah! My head! You stabbed me, you little I'll be back later to kill you!
God knows it better than I know myself, so I'm gonna love myself, so.
Yahoo! Yahoo!
Mario's Insane Rampage!
Yahoo! Yahoo!
The year is 2000. The panic around Y2K is wound down. George Bush is to be elected President of the United States after a highly contentious electoral process. The successor to Sony's PlayStation is about to be released. The world is still a year away from the tragic terrorist attacks on the World Trade Center on the 11th of September the following year. And the dot-com bubble has just burst, causing a ripple effect through the internet, shuttering websites left and right. And amidst all of this, there's a little site hosting strange flash animations and games. A little site you might have heard of, called Newgrounds. Newgrounds is a gaming and gaming-adjacent website where user-generated Flash content is uploaded for the enjoyment of others. In a lot of ways, it's a predecessor to YouTube, having existed for nearly a full decade before YouTube came into being. But this video isn't really about Newgrounds specifically. It's more about a specific person and the way he shaped internet culture for an entire generation. That person is a man named Randy Solem. If you're below a certain age, you almost certainly haven't heard of Randy Solem. But if you're about 25 or older, you still haven't heard of him, but you've almost certainly seen something he's made or something inspired off of what he made.
As a lifelong gamer, Randy Solem sat through more than his fair share of video game cinematics, so naturally, he decided to make some of his own. Please welcome Randy to the show. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
All right, tell me about the Video Game Director's Cut.
Video Game Director's Cut's basically a site I created where I take old video game graphics and create movies out of them using Macromedia Flash.
Now, how long have you been doing this? Because you've been at this for a while, right?
Yeah, since 2000, actually.
Okay, back in 2000, there weren't a lot of people doing this. I mean, now you see a lot of little, video game kind of tributes and whatnot, but you got into it pretty early?
Yeah, I was on Newgrounds.com, and I was checking out the movies there one time. And this guy named Clark Liebeck was making these sprite movies, and he had a site time called Nintendo Classics, and I decided to take my shot at it.
You see, for a period of about 5 years, from 2000 to 2005, Randy Solem was responsible for a series of sprite-based Flash parodies of popular video game intellectual properties from Sega, Nintendo, and a bunch of other games people in the 80s and 90s grew up with. These animations were called VGDC, or Video Game Director's Cuts, and often featured the family-friendly characters of these properties in profane or violent situations. The entire joke of it pretty much being that these family-friendly characters either met horrifically gruesome ends, or did or had something really gross happen to them. As strange as it sounds, for about a decade, this was the cornerstone of internet comedy. An entire generation grew up on, Sonic inhaled a fart, that's the joke, and Mario's covered in poop, that's so gross, and God, I really do just want to watch an infant fucking die! You see, this was the early days of the internet, when the novelty of seeing characters in situations like this was still fresh, so there wasn't much need, if any, to write comedy that was actually funny on its own merits. Granted, that hasn't exactly stopped people from continuing to write stuff like this in the past decade, but comedy doesn't have to be funny for people to watch and enjoy it. But Sudsy, I hear you ask, isn't this supposed to be a review of a specific game? To which I say, yes, but it's important to understand the context of the time period in which it was made. Mario's Insane Rampage is a byproduct of the early 2000s era of internet humor, and it's sort of fascinating when taken as a time capsule of that time period. Mario's Insane Rampage is a 2004 Zelda fan game made in the Zelda Classic engine. Yes, I did say Zelda fan game. It's basically a Zelda game with Mario characters. Well, honestly, they're so out of character that the whole character part is honestly debatable. The core conceit of Mario's Insane Rampage is that it takes place in an evil, corrupted, parallel universe version of the Mushroom Kingdom. In other words, if you're imagining a universe where all those Flash animations are true, that is to say, Mario's an impossibly badass person, as well as a complete and total monster that delights in the suffering of others, then you're on the right track, because that's basically how the Mushroom Kingdom and Mario are portrayed here. Everyone's looking out for themselves, everyone's horrible, and everything is shitty always. I'm sure this was very funny in 2004. This all brought to you courtesy of the mind of one Vince Little, a Wisconsin native that decided to turn their drawings and comics into this Mario fan game. Keep that Vince Little thing in your mind because it's going to become surprisingly relevant to all of this later. So now we come to Mario's titular rampage of insanity, already in progress. If you're wondering what the plot is, I can sum it up in one sentence. Mario just woke up one day and chose violence. I swear I'm not kidding, that's it! It sounds really stupid, but that's pretty much all she wrote in regards to the plot. I mean, sure, you're supposed to collect superstars or power stars or whatever and rescue the princess, but Mario has to rescue the princess before he takes a dump every morning, so it's hardly worth mentioning. It's really just an incredibly flimsy justification for Mario to commit countless horrific acts of homicide. Die, Yoshi, die! This is revenge for what you did to baby Mario! So like I said before, your objective is to get all the power stars or whatever so you can rescue Peach, which means killing any and all things that get in your way, even if they're just minding their own business and not bothering anyone. Oh my God!
I didn't mean to hurt anybody. No one ever does, Walker.
You really can just go around doing whatever the f you want. Honest to God, if it weren't for the fact that it's semi-linear, I'd almost call it Grand Theft Auto but with Mario. It really is like someone took the general aesthetic and mood of early 2000s Flash parodies of Mario on Newgrounds and the like, and filtered them through the shock humor comedy stylings of South Park and Aqua Teen Hunger Force, and made that into their Mario fan game. Welcome to the grocery store! Please don't pee in the lemonade. The first area full of people unprepared for the force of malevolent hatred that is Mario is, of course, none other than the local supermarket, because there's no better place to get your bloodbath on than in the cleaning aisle. Can we get a custodian on aisle 5? A short fat plumber is going on a killing spree, and the customers are tripping all over the blood. Thanks. Oh, this is a lovely image, isn't it? The all-loving hero Mario setting off bombs at people's shopping carts and bludgeoning women to death with a stick. Isn't that exactly what comes to your mind when you think of Mario?
Where he's good when you need him.
This, of course, culminates in Mario fighting Luigi, who can breathe fire. Unfortunately for Mr. L, he's going to be taking a lot of L's in this. Oh, Jesus Christ, Mario! So after committing a horrific act of fratricide, we pick up the first Power Star. Now, on to the next one. But first we have to visit this guy who is doing something to this dog that will make PETA very upset. Or very happy, it's hard to tell with them.
Oh, stupid fairies are brainwashing everyone! Go kill them!
Our next stop is the magical temple of the fairies, but the fairies here aren't like the fairies in the Zelda games. They hurt you instead of heal you, and they have a thirst for blood. Jesus, look at the bones! You know, seeing the menagerie of corpses and Geneva Convention violations these fairies have gathered, I'm almost wondering if Mario is the lesser of two evils here. It's like sending a pit bull to maul a poacher. This fairy is about to burst out of this toad's stomach like a chest buster. Yeah, alright, f it. I agree with Mario. These fairies need to die. Say what you will about Mario in this setting, but to my knowledge, he doesn't eat human, toad, flesh, and he doesn't torture people. At least I think he doesn't. So after killing the Fairy Queen and her pet Chain Chomp, you finally take the Power Star from their main torture chamber and put their wicked ambitions to a halt. Not bad, Mario.
These fairies are yummy. Eating them heals me. I will live forever!
Aren't you dead?
Ah! Killing me won't stop me from living. I'll come back to life again.
Oh, why did I even bother praising Mario?
Welcome to the haunted house. Please enjoy your death.
Oh, so killing the living wasn't enough for Mario. He decided that he had to take another crack at them once they died. You have to hand it to him. When it comes to mass murder, this Mario is thorough. There's not really much to write home about here. There's lots of blood and undead enemies, but the game kind of already blew its wad with the absolutely psychotic, bloodthirsty fairies. I do like the boss here, which is this weird spider toad looking thing that randomly has its face split open, revealing its skull underneath. That's metal as hell. Time for another Power Star!
Mario, please kill us! Push that thingy in that box thing, please!
Thank you. You know, looking around the general area of the cemetery, there's lots of people who seem to have been negatively impacted by the fairy menace, so I'm sticking pretty firmly to Mario being justified for that particular set of homicides. Now, it's time for the game to go to shit, as if it hadn't already. Of course this game has a sewer level. My personal hell wouldn't be complete without it. You fight blobs of diarrhea and travel through teleporters, which can somehow bleed. I really don't want to know how that's supposed to work.
Oh God, what the hell is that thing? Put it out of its misery!
Power Star!
Ah, you little idiot! Don't try to climb up my bum when I'm trying to poop! I would kick your ass, but I gotta poop bad! I'll kill you later!
You've heard of tinfoil hats? Well, Mario's got a tinfoil sword! Next dungeon! Welcome to the house. Please enjoy your lay. Please enjoy your lay? Really? The house is a wretched hive where all sorts of horrific crimes against humanity are committed. So really, not any different than anything else we've seen so far. Is that ninja shooting fireballs out of its... Why are there babies sleeping in the house? Why are we shanking up midwives? I can't show this. I knew Mario and Sonic had a rivalry, but I don't think this is the right way of going about asserting dominance. And to wrap up all this insanity, there's these guys that shoot fireballs out of their ass. I wonder what venereal disease causes that. Oh well, nothing some healing arrows can't fix. Grandpa needs his dirty mags, so we give them to him and obtain yet another star of insanity.
I can't wait to do a whore. I'm getting hard just thinking of it. Ow! Stop squeezing my balls! I need them to make love to the whores! God damn it! You squeezed my balls so hard my head exploded! Now I'm dead!
Now we're going to the place that people like this Mario go when they die. Did you figure it out yet? That's right! We're going to heaven! Heaven in this universe is populated by aliens, Care Bears, and what the f*** is that thing? Kill it! Kill it, Mario! Kill it now! So anyway, after retrieving the holy probe of God from heaven, sure, why not, we're ready to probe our next dungeon, which is... God, I can't show this at all. Trust me, you don't want to see this, I promise you.
This dragon's ass sure is warm and cozy.
You know, when I heard Mario was a licensed doctor, I had no idea his chosen field was proctology. Hey, who the hell is this? Anyways, after a prolonged spelunking session that includes massive logs of dragon dung and corn, tapeworms and giant fireballs, we're...
Thank you, Mario, but our princess is in another asshole!
Thank you for that, Toad. We defeat the horrifying nightmare abomination's shitty twin brother and obtain the Power Star. How did that thing end up in there anyway?
Oh, dragon! Oh, yeah, dragon! Oh, baby! What is this? Is it a baby? It's my new son! I'm so proud to be a father! What should we name him? Yahoo! Wait a minute! He looks like Mario! You've been cheating on me, Dragon!
I'm losing my mind! Oh! So after that assault on my sanity, all that's left is a castle that belongs to... I don't know. Whoever it is, they sure are one sick motherfucker, giving the fairies some competition, and not in the good way. It's exactly what you'd expect gameplay-wise. It's an overlong dungeon with way too much graphic gore to ever be in good taste, and the final boss, which is Toad?
I told you I'd be back to kill you, Mario!
I kind of f with this, actually. He's a clone of Zelda 1 Ganon, so you just stumble around trying to hit him with the sword, and then you brain him with an arrow to the mushroom. After brutally murdering Toad, you can finally go to the chamber where he's kept the princess hostage. Let's see how that goes.
Thank you! You rescued me! Now let's have hot, sweaty sex for hours!
Time to kick up the kid.
The end! Oh. Poetry in motion. Well, I have to say, that definitely delivered. It's a bog-standard Zelda game in terms of gameplay mechanics and progression, but the memorably psychotic imagery and absolutely disgusting dialogue made a hell of an impression on me at the tender age of 12. I definitely should not have been playing this, and hopefully even with the somewhat censored view of it you've seen here, it's obvious why. It really does feel like a playable version of all those insane Newgrounds Flash animations. Randy would be proud. Truly an insane Rampage worth remembering. Even if it's probably better off lost to the memory of time forever, it'll stay with me always, whether I want it to or not. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time! Except, what time of year is it? Oh yeah, it's December! That's right, it is the holiday season after all, and what better gift than more of everybody's least favorite psychotic plumber? 'Tis the season for giving, and you know what I always say, suffering is a dish best served with an extra helping. Time for more bad insanity. Yeah, this game actually got a sequel, Mario's Xmas Apocalypse. Released a year after the first one, this game features whatever content the creator, Valerie Little, couldn't fit into the original game. Yeah, I said Valerie. Apparently the creator of this game learned some things about himself in the time she spent between Mario's Insane Rampage and this game. So that's pretty neat. And we're already off to a fantastic start, if this disclaimer is any indication. This game picks up right where the original left off, with Mario having apparently recovered from being brutally squashed, if the man who was attempting to defile his unconscious body is any indication. Charming.
Hey, get out of here, you stupid sack of horse dung! I'm trying to turn this place into a bed and breakfast, and you're in the way! Leave!
Oh my god. After making it out of the castle, we notice that a decent amount of time has passed since the previous game, given that it's winter outside now. Geez, how long was Mario asleep? How long was that guy?
I think they killed Lord Featherbottom! Why? Why did Santa do that?
Anyways, apparently Santa and his 8 reindeer of the apocalypse have swooped in and taken control of the Mushroom Kingdom while Mario was out of commission, which means it's up to him to stop their reign of terror and reinstate his own. I have so many questions. How is Santa Claus here? Why is he here? What does he want? What is he planning on doing? What even is a Santa Claus in this universe? According to the first game, this is an evil, corrupted version of the Mushroom Kingdom where everything's upside down, and we even see fairies that maim people instead of heal them, which lends credence to that idea. So is that Santa's deal? Does he deliver death instead of presents? Is he an arms dealer? You have so many interesting possibilities here, but since this game basically amounts to a shitpost, it's not really willing to explore or even engage with any of those avenues. I guess it just ultimately boils down to Mario wanting to kill Santa, which I suppose I could get behind.
If you take my heart, I will disappear. I guess that means I died.
So in this game, our objective is to kill off Santa's reindeer and then take on the big bearded bastard himself. So that of course means revisiting the grocery store, which is looking a lot more like the haunted house these days.
Oh yeah, Lord Featherbottom's hooking us up! Mario's packing heat!
So without the power stars, all there really is to do is to collect items for progression and kill the reindeer.
Ah! It's Saddam! Help me! Sweet Lord, no! Ah!
Welcome to the church, the home of the Oh. Ah. How lovely. I guess now's as good a time to mention it as any. There's lots of jabs at Christianity in the Bible here, and it seems to me like the game's author was discovering some things about herself while making it. A big chunk of the shock humor is gone, and this is what takes its place for the most part. I'm not judging, mind you. I just find the sudden and abrupt shift towards this kind of satire and how concentrated it is to be kind of funny in its own right. You can't accept me for who I am? Then I'll make fun of you in a thing I'm making. That's a level of petty I aspire to. Of course, I could be reading too much into it, considering the
I don't care what the Bible says. Take me, Mario. Take me now.
I'm the almighty Lobster. Pay me for my wisdom. I like big butts and I cannot lie. You other lobsters can't deny.
Anyways, after a sea of jokes that pretty much anybody that's ever made fun of organized religion has already made 1,000 times before, we come across the boss, who I have to assume is the aforementioned diddling priest, and his loyal cow, pig things that breathe fire. Sure, okay. And we get a power star because we have to trigger a cutscene.
Hey, Saddam, I actually have weapons of mass destruction, and you... Wait a minute, you're not Saddam! You will face my wrath later, I go now!
Oh yeah, I guess Saddam would have been topical around 2005, wouldn't he? The more things change, am I right? Oh, and I guess this confirms Santa must be some sort of arms dealer after all.
Oh my God! You walked on water! You're Jesus! Grant me my 3 wishes now! Oh my God!
Our next stop is the sewer again, and if the new look is any indication, Santa is using it as a dumping ground for anybody who disagrees with him. The thing is, I'm not entirely sure that this Mario wouldn't do the exact same thing, so...
I'm turning evil! You are not my friends anymore!
Anyways, we kill another reindeer and...
I found a smushed princess a while ago. You can have her now.
There's nothing quite like using someone's mutilated carcass as a makeshift sledgehammer. That's so dark and absurd and disgusting that I kinda love it. Early 2000s edgelord humor isn't so bad sometimes.
You're that little prick Santa told me about! You will be destroyed!
In order to defeat Santa, we're going to have to consult a higher power, so you know what that means! Time to go back to heaven! Stapler sex! And at the top of heaven, we find the holy ship! I'm sure there's several jokes about Scientology and Lord Xenu one could make here, but the game's already making them for me, considering the background music is literally a MIDI of the X-Files theme. This is kind of metal if you think about it. Mario makes first contact with superior beings, and his first instinct is to go Doomslayer on their big-eyed asses and kill them all. That definitely tracks for this Mario.
We created humans, we are your god! We took primitive earth apes and made sweet love to them, and that is where humans come from!
Yes, thank you.
Oh, and there's even an ape brothel! Yet another image that will now never leave my forever scarred conscience. After carving a bloody swath of destruction through the alien ship, we come across Lord Xenu himself, and whatever higher power he has is no match for Lord Featherbottom's peace! The power of gun compels you! Power Star!
Look, he's like Jesus! I want to be like Jesus! My turn is next!
Our last stop, of course, is none other than Santa's workshop. I joked about Santa having a torture dungeon in Arn's Winter Quest, but I'd bet that's actually probably true here. There's definitely a lot of corpses, that's for sure. Isn't that just a sentence that gets you in a festive mood? Aren't we having such a jolly time, you and I? Anyways, it's the same deal as last time. You kill a boss gauntlet, kill the rest of the reindeer, and...
I'm the ghost of one who was executed by Santa. Kill Santa! Destroy him!
Yeah, what he said. The final boss is Santa, of course, and he's exactly the same as Toad, who is exactly the same as Ganon. Yeesh. Between this and Arn's Winter Quest, what is it with me and playing games where Santa Claus is an antagonistic force that can only be quelled through the use of incredible violence? I say that, but Santa's actually surprisingly hard to get a hit on. I don't know if he moves faster or what, but jolly old Saint Nick ain't screwing around. Got him!
Oh yeah, it's his decapitated head! What other game shows you that? Mario brutally decapitating Santa!
You make it downstairs to the basement of Santa's dungeon, and wow, that's a lot of bombs.
You killed Santa! I have no reason to live! I will destroy the world!
No, Blitzen, don't do it!
And so peace was finally brought to the land.
You know what? I think that speaks for itself. Merry Christmas, everybody.